So very good morning to each one of you present in this wonderful hall. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor A.K. Bhagirathi, the Dean, Professor Surjit, all the deans present here itself, faculty members, officers of the university, and above all, the wonderful young admitted students to this esteemed and prestigious university called Assam Royal Global University. Friends, my young friends, for whom this program is organized by this university and university officials, I think all of you should consider yourself extremely fortunate to be here itself in this university for two reasons. First, I think only 10.6% of the youth in the age group of 18 to 23 get this opportunity to be admitted into UG program in the higher education space of our country. Secondly, you are in RGU. The moment you took admission in this very university, you are an RGU Bhiyan. And this is this university which has claimed its position in the forefront of the educational space of the country in a very short span of, I think, 5 years kind of a thing. And during this 5 years short period of time, the university has benchmarked, as I understand, have seen, I think some of the best practices, particularly in the context of the national education policy in the field of teaching, learning, administration, management, placement, and many other dimensions of education. So kudos to the university authorities and the pioneers, the chancellor, the pro-chancellor, the vice chancellor, and previous vice chancellors and others who have made in such a small, I think, short period of time so much of progress when it comes to, I think, this university and its development. Young friends, I'll just discuss with you three things. Firstly, I think this is a great transition for all of you, all the young souls, minds present here itself. This is a great transition, and that transition is happening in a very defined moment when the country is experiencing, I think, you can say, unprecedented development in different spaces of the of development, and secondly, when we are implementing NEP 2020 to benchmark within best of the global practices in higher education with the stamp of our own, I think, indigenization. It's a great moment, and your university is in the forefront of implementing this NEP 2020 in this part, not only in this part of the country, I mean the Northeast, but also in the whole country. Now, what does this transition hold for all of you? What does it mean for all of you? You are also graduating or going for a transition from a higher secondary environment to the university environment. And the university space, as you will experience in days to come, you might have got a glimpse of that, and in days and years to come, you will experience it more. Is that it's a space, it's a large comprehensive laboratory to nurture your capability, to liberate your mind. It will liberate your mind in terms of new learning, unlearning, and also you'll have a lot of relearning. That way, your mind will be liberated, number one. Number two, your capability space, the capability vector will also get expanded. When I say capability, it means, I think, the way, with the skill, with the education, with the empowerment, what more we can do and how effectively we can do things. So it would expand it's a laboratory to expand your capability vector. It's also a space to expand your empowerment dimension. Empowerment, I think all of you understand. I think when you were in the school, the scope of empowerment is slightly limited. The moment you come to this university, I think the scope of empowerment would be limitless. You will be interacting with teachers who are from different parts of the country and even maybe from outside the country also. Number one. Number two, you will be interacting, you will be sharing your classroom and your other academic activities in this university with students who are from different parts of the country and also maybe from abroad also. So it will just so interaction in this multicultural environment will definitely empower you to take on, I think, the challenges and responsibilities which lie, I think, ahead when you come out of this pass out of this university and have your own space in the development canvas of the country or maybe abroad. Thirdly, it's also a space to form tremendous amount of social capital. What is that social capital? Social capital is all about this interaction. Whether you discuss with your friends from different parts of the country or abroad while taking a cup of coffee, or in the classroom, or outside the classroom in terms of your academic assignments. I think the social capital, the interaction, the networked capital that you form in the university, it would many such capital. I think just like as we have income, the money to capital, similarly this is social capital. And this social capital you would see in days to come will be an important organic part of your journey in days to come when you pass out from this very established university. So this is the transition. And then it would also expand your rational thinking. We all think, we all dream, but rationalizing that thinking is extremely important. And through the interaction of your peers, your teachers, and even visiting professors or established people who come from different parts of the country, from the world, from the field of academics or from industry or from, I think, any other field for that matter, I think those interactions and participations will tremendously help you to rationalize your thinking, to rationalize your dreams also. Sometimes all of us have dreams, and you people have definitely much bigger, much better dreams. But rationalizing that is very, very important. And then in addition to that also, it is also a space to calm your soul, because it's calming your soul is also extremely important in the journey of your academic career and your future achievements and contribution to the whole world. So this is the first thing which I wanted to share with all of you, how this transition, this great transition, has tremendous implications for each one of you in days to come, in years to come. And that transition is happening in a very defined moment, as I said, when we are implementing NEP 2020, and when we say we are going to be a developed country, Viksit Bharat, in 2047, and this is the Amrit Kal. I think the era of Indian exile, as it is called, the Amrit Kal. And you are fortunate that you have joined this university during this Indian era of exile, and I think the tremendous kind of evolution and development that you would come across, I think none of us, I think, have gone through, I think, when we were students in universities and colleges. The second thing, which is very important for each one of you, is that we are implementing NEP 2020. This has tremendous implications for all of you. You will see in days to come with respect to teaching, learning, evaluation, the outcome dimensions of higher education and arrangements. You might have got a glimpse of that during the last couple of days or maybe a fortnight, but in days to come you will see how this university I think by benchmarking, undertaking many of the mandated, suggested requirements, best practices of NEP is, going to, benefit, going to give that to all of you. And that's going to happen. I think all of you can experience and see that, in the space of teaching. For example, today it's no more called teaching. There are changing patterns and prototypes in higher education arrangement. What are they? Today, you people are going to be more known as learners, not as students. The old practice was students. Today, you will be known as more as learners. We, or your faculty members, your teachers, they are not only teachers, they are rebranded now as mentors, enablers. That's the more important role. From one-time learning, you will have now lifelong learning. From one-time skill acquisition, acquiring of skill, it will be lifelong skill, acquiring of lifelong skill. Similarly, the teachers which are earlier mostly giving you information, now their role mostly will be to map out your, outcomes. Mapping out the outcome becomes one of the important job of the teachers in the changing arrangement when NEP comes into force and gets evolved. So these, and then from passive learning, you will be exposed to now active learning. Active learning in the sense, experiential learning. Learn by doing it in the classroom. So many of these, so these are all the changing prototypes, I think, in the context of the NEP 2020, and you will be exposed to these changing, patterns or prototypes as practices in days to come in your class, in your curricular, and also in your extracurricular activities. That's number one. The number two, see, you will be also, I think, given a lot of course, information, but more than the information or knowledge, will also be imparted the required kind of a skill. And this is happening at a point of time where there is seamlessness with respect to acquiring of this skill and knowledge. And this is basically because the whole arrangement in the higher education space and also in the development space is prone to what we say, which the famous economist and developmental practitioners have said, creative destruction. What is this creative destruction, friends? I think all of us are experiencing this creative destruction. You just see today, you have a mobile. All of us are having mobiles. And after 1 month, you see that had become dated, and new mobile has come with a new technology, with new innovation. And at the back of this creative destruction is in constant, continuous, seamless innovation. And when and all these things happen, the skill set, the form of the skill that you are going to be imparted also keeps on changing seamless, keeps also evolving seamlessly. So creative destruction is all about creatively destroying an existing arrangement of production of a good or a service, or for that matter, a skill, and bringing in a new skill, a new product, a new way of servicing, a new service or new way of servicing an existing service. And higher education space also tremendously is going to experience this type of seamless creative destruction. And you will be much more exposed to the imperative of this creative destruction in acquiring the skill and the knowledge in this very university. And you should be prepared for that. That's the second thing. The third thing is, in the context of the NEP 2020, is development of that critical thinking. Higher education is all about today developing that critical thinking in all of you. How to develop that critical thinking? The critical thinking develops through contestation, particularly in social sciences and also natural sciences. In social sciences, for example, you have to context a particular concept, a particular theory, a particular development practice, and bring in a new one. And it is through that contestation, which happens through questioning, to debate, to calibrated debate, discussion, that contestation happens, and that leads to critical thinking. So contestation is an important requirement of NEP 2020, and you would see in days to come, I think we'll be exposed to this very practice of contestation. That's number one. Then number two, you will also be exposed more to the multidisciplinary teaching, learning, and research, etc. Nowadays in UG also, there is an important component of research methodology which is going to be taught to all of you. So you will also be exposed to this kind of, I think, what you call multidisciplinary learning, teaching, and research. Now, when I say multidisciplinary, let me give you one example. See, many of us, for example, someone is teaching you a theory of rural development and the practice of rural development. Now, earlier, rural development as a practice, the way it was practiced, the way it was, for example, modeled, it was all thought to be the job of only economists or engineers, or maybe some of the bureaucrats. But today it's not like that. I think one cannot be a rural development specialist, cannot give a comprehensive plan of development of rural development without being grounded with the rural sociology, the rural power structure, the rural politics, or for that, the rural natural base, and many other things. So one has to have an understanding of the science, and has to have the understanding of sociology, politics, and many others, in addition to your understanding of economics, or for that matter, maybe engineering. And that's also, so that's where actually teaching and learning and subsequently practice is going to be in a multidisciplinary arrangement. And you will be exposed to that, and you will learn, you will see that how fascinating, how relevant is to be exposed to this kind of a interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary learning and research. And thirdly, you will also be exposed to a new kind of teaching learning in terms of blending theory and practice. Traditionally, our teaching, I'm talking about just last 200-300 years. Before that, at one point of time, 2000 years back, when we had very developed university arrangement like Nalanda, or for that matter, Takshila, we had that kind of a blending of the theory and practice. But we lost it in between because of the colonial, teaching and learning methods. So again, we'll be back to that kind of an arrangement where theory and practice will be blended in your classroom teaching. Let me give you one example, because I teach development economics. When many of the steel plants in India came up during the late 50s and early 60s in the public sector, Bhilai, Durgapur, Raurkela, etc. They didn't come up on their own, that somebody thought of, a politician or a developmental practitioner thought that we'll have more of steel plants next day, and the steel plants came up. They didn't happen this way. They're all based on the contemporary critical theories of development. One of the theory, they're based on two important theories. One was the Lewis theory of economic development. Those of you who are in economics or political science or development, branches of development economics will be able to come to know of it since days to come. So one was the Lewis theory of development. The other one was the Horstman's theory of development. I think both this, I don't have that much of time to explain all those details, but based on these theories, this practice of setting up steel plants in the public sector came up. Because Horstman said, in a situation when you do not have plenty of capital, where your capital base is limited, you have to prioritize your investment. And he, through research, has found out that it's the steel and the coal sector is having the largest impact, I think, on development and leading sectors, having maximum linkage effect. So they had identified the steel and the coal sector. And Lewis said that it's time to go for industrialization. So people, the surplus labor in the rural segment needs to move to the urban set of wherever manufacturing activities do happen. So based on these two theories, I think this practice of establishing the steel plants happened. So you can see this is one example of the connect between theory and practice. Microfinance is another classic example. I think before microfinance came up, and Mohammed Yunus, who is today known for all wrong reasons, at one point of view known for all, I think, very good reasons. Now, microfinance, for example, in our traditional economics and development practice, the poor and particularly the women were thought to be unbankable, that they cannot be bankable, they cannot be given loans and credit. So that was the typical theory that we were all taught. But the way microfinance and self-help groups arrangement came in by Mohammed Yunus, it changed the whole understanding and practice of, making the poor and particularly the women bankable. So that's a social innovation. All of you can understand, that's a social innovation. So this, and so you can see here itself, the linkage between theory and practice. So a new theory came up, new theory of rural credit market. Okay, and then it's, associated practice. So that's the, beauty of understanding the synergy between theory and practice when they are all taught in the classroom. And in days to come, under the NEP arrangement, you will be taught in that kind of an arrangement. Wherever possible, your teachers will link up theory with practice. I was working in a program called MGNRAGA, and we tried to, cast that program in terms of Amartya Sen's theory of capability expansion. So that's a link. So theory and practice, blending will be very, very important in days to come. That's all about, NEP 2020 and its implications for, tremendous implications for each one of you. And finally, friends, let me, give you a little bit of insight on the evolving nature of the global development practice and its implications for each one of you as young undergraduates and maybe tomorrow as young graduates. The concept and the practice of development today is evolving from, has evolved from singularly being identified with economic growth to sustainable development today. Up to 1940s, development was unidimensional. It was simply understood in terms of creation of more of income and wealth. If a country's per capita income is continuously increasing, that was stated to be economic growth. That was also stated to be economic development. But subsequently, it's a long story. To cut the long story short, I can tell you, through the last, 70 and 80 years, we have changed the very concept of development from economic growth to today sustainable development. And as many of you know, sustainable development has three dimensions. The economic dimension, which is very important to create income, wealth and employment. The social dimension is all about to take care of the social equality, create that social capital, which I was talking about it, 5 minutes before, and to create that networking arrangement amongst the, citizens of the country or the global citizens, and to reduce inequality in the income and also empowerment space. So that's all about the social dimension of sustainable development. And the third one, which all of you are experiencing and more so already experiencing, the environmental dimension. Your university is going to be already a green campus and more in days to come. Just half an hour before, I got this opportunity to plant a tree in your university. So the environmental dimension is also equally important. So these are three important dimensions of sustainable development. Along with this change with respect to the concept and theory of development, from growth to sustainable development, the approach to sustainable development has also evolved. From singularly being identified with the income approach, today we talk about capability come life approach. What is that? And the life approach is the latest contribution of Government of India under the G20 arrangement to the overriding approach of development in the global context. Although it has yet not been formalized, what is that life approach? It is called lifestyle change of environment for development. LIFE, life approach to sustainable development. So from income approach to sense capability approach, today we are going to have capability come life approach to sustainable development. So, and in days to come, many of your programs of development are going to be recast, to be influenced, impacted by this kind of approach to development. I think number 2. And then finally, friends, when you look at, I think, the whole world, we are in a very defined moment. Look at the current Bharat, or for that matter, what you call the current India. We are the largest democracy of the world. We are the 4th defense power of the world. We are the 5th, I think, space power of the world, going to the 4th space power of the world. We are already the 3rd largest economy of the world in terms of purchasing power parity, and 4th largest in terms of USA dollars. We have contributed significantly, almost like 2 lakhs of Indian soldiers we have given to the whole world, UNO, for peacekeeping. No other country has done it. I think it's a tremendous, and we have the largest financial inclusion program in the world. All of you know that. We have also the largest health program for the, I think, underprivileged and the marginalized sections of the world. So in many dimensions of development, I think we have our own place, but we have also our challenges, particularly when it comes to education. We are yet to be a global power. That is why there is a responsibility for each one of you. Today, you are no more just, I'm saying, a citizen of the Northeast, or for that matter, the country. You are a global citizen. And as India, I think, is an emerging economy, going to be by 2047 a developed country, the response, you are going to be a global citizen. What India thinks, I think that would be the global practice, I think, maybe after 20 plus years. And all of you, that's why I have added responsibility on each one of you. The way you mold yourself, the you benchmark the best practices, ethics, morality in you, I think that is going to be the global practice for development. And finally, let me end it off by saying this much. I think, as you see, a lot needs to be done, I think, to be a developed country, and we are in the right track for that matter. And the youth plays a very important role there itself. As you know, 65% of our young, I think our population, our young population below the age of 35. No other country in the world is having that demographic advantage. And this is our time. This is India's time. This is your time. So try to make the best use of it. And as Vivekananda said, that this is the time when India should arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is realized. And look at actually this whole concept and practice of sustainable development. It's based on our Indian philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That's going to be the India's contribution to the whole world. And in that journey, I think your contribution will be extremely, extremely important. And finally, let me end off by citing one of my very favorite English poet when he says that trust no future. His name is Longfellow, Henry Williams Longfellow. Just let me cite, a couple of lines from his poem, The Psalm of Life, where he says, trust no future, however pleasant. Trust no future, however pleasant. Let the dead past bury its dead. The past is gone. Let the dead past bury its dead. Act in the living present. The present is living. Act in the living present. Heart within, God overhead. I think that's what actually I think all of you are going to do, going to practice, going to dream, and make your university proud, make this region proud, make the country proud, and be a global citizen in making India a Viksit Bharat. Thank you so much. God bless each one of you. Thank you.